roasting day. We're here from Northwest location where our roastery is. I'm Chris Garrison. I'm the owner of Old World, owner and founder. Who are you?
I am Vince Fernan. I'm the head roastery manager here at Old World Coffee.
Awesome. Yeah, we wanted to just do a little bit of podcast, talk about what we do as a company, why we do things the way we do them. And then really the big thing in the news lately is tariffs, coffee market.
Right.
That's kind of evolving and changing constantly. And I think there's a lot of nuance or things that probably people are starting to pick up on patterns and things like that. And what's that mean for every coffee drinkers and things like that? Yeah. I mean, you even had a lot of questions about that today.
So one of the first things is what's going on with the tariffs for coffee?
Yeah. So tariffs for coffee have been pretty much the same as tariffs on any other product coming from those coffees. So I believe it was 40 or 50% from Brazil.
Right.
Brazil is the biggest producer of coffee in the world. I think they bring in 25% of. It might even be more than that.
Yeah.
I know it's at least 25%. It might be upwards of like 40% for U.S. coffee. What we bring in.
Right. And I think, I mean, obviously we can fact check that better, but I think like 17% of the world's coffee supply, like the whole world.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's a decent amount for the U.S., something above 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Changes
year by year.
So there's been several motions either in the Senate or in Congress to try and eliminate tariffs on coffee, specifically because we don't really grow coffee outside of Hawaii and Puerto Rico, which is nowhere near enough coffee to supply the entire country. So it doesn't really make sense to tariff something that we're not producing here ourselves.
Right. And we have to keep in mind too, it's not just specialty coffee.
No, it's
right. It's everything from like, I mean, Starbucks, Dutch Bros, and
oh yeah, it's every I mean Maxwell House, Folgers, like it's everyone is affected to some extent by these tariffs, and like you said, it's not just coffee either. Like every agricultural import things that we don't grow here as well, like bananas. We don't grow bananas really in the U.S. either. Like maybe in Puerto Rico, but
right.
maybe I don't know, southern parts of Florida. I'm not really sure. I've never seen a banana tree in the US.
Yeah. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I don't think I've ever seen it.
But the big news last week was President signed tariff relief bill for agricultural products that we don't produce here. So coffee was the big one on that. The first round of that had excluded Brazil from it.
Okay.
So Brazil was still at 40% tariffs. So it was like, okay, tariffs on like pretty much every other country for coffee have been eliminated, including like bananas and a bunch of other agriculture products, at least from our perspective. I cared more about coffee than the other ones. But Brazil was still on there. So it's like, okay, Brazil drives so much of the market that affects like the global trade of coffee. And it's not even just like, tariffs are one of the many contributing factors to what's happening in the coffee market right now. But because we are so reliant on Brazil for coffee, they had a really bad harvest the last 2 years. They had big frost, and that really drove the cost of coffee back up because not only do you have a 40% tariff on it, they don't have as much. So the cost to bring in Brazilian coffees is really high.
Right.
And then you start to people like Starbucks and everywhere else that buy tons of Brazilian coffee are now having to move to other origins like Colombia, Guatemala to bring in coffees to replace these Brazils.
Right.
Which, so I guess going back to the tariff relief, Brazil came like 2 days later. So Brazil is also excluded. So as far as I'm aware, as of November 13th, moving forward, there is no tariffs on coffee going forward.
And is it that volatility that keeps us, or not even us, sorry, is it that volatility that forces the commodity market for coffee to, how am I trying to word this? Is it the unsurety of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like
unsurety.
The unknown of
Is it the unknown of what's been going on with the changes of, for example, this tariff timetable? Has that been a factor in the volatility of the commodity market?
Totally. Stability, knowing what's going to happen will drive or reduce costs in the commodities market. I'm not a trader, nor do I understand the commodities market very well, I would
Right.
say. I have a very narrow picture of what that looks like, but the commodities market, and especially coffee, is usually way above what commodity market
Right.
is, right? So like commodity market is like one of the lower ends of coffee that you can get. We've never bought coffee on the commodities market. We don't intend to ever buy coffee on the commodities market. We're typically
Right.
paying over commodities market pricing for it. But it does have a big drive on if, for example, the commodities market is really high, Nicaragua, then why would Nicaraguans or people farming coffee in Nicaragua honor contracts that they're getting less money on because the commodities market just went through the roof? So the last year it's jumped like $2 a pound. So why would they go say, hey, we're going to sell to Starbucks at X rate that we negotiated 2 years ago when the market just jumped, and I can go dump the coffee on the commodities market. Nobody cares about the quality anymore and get more money, right? But then you've like kind of burned bridges on that contract that you had before.
Right.
But who's going to be able to enforce a contract in
Totally.
Nicaragua on a farmer? So that has a lot to do with it. The uncertainty of what's going to happen is a big factor in all of that. And so the tariff relief will be helpful because we know that we're not paying tariffs on coffee anymore, right? And that some countries aren't going to be higher or change. Like we brought in a bunch of Nicaraguan coffee, and at one point they were recommending 100% tariff on Nicaragua. So we have contracts with coffees in Nicaragua. If that tariff had gone into effect, we had already contracted these coffees. All of a sudden, overnight, they become twice as much as they were before. These are coffees that are, we expect to come in at a certain price, and so if they're twice as much. So that kind of like uncertainty should be kind of going away. The interesting thing about this is that it's not going to take effect right away.
Right.
So in the news, you might see like, hey, tariff relief, coffee prices should be dropping. When in reality, coffee's already here. So most of the import for coffee happens sometime between June and November, some coming in a little bit later. But all that coffee's here. Every coffee that we have for almost the next year is landed already.
Right.
And because it's not retroactive, at least from what I've seen, maybe that'll change.
Yes.
But it's November 13th moving forward. So every coffee is already landed. It's already here. The market's already been high.
Right.
So these are coffees priced at the market when it was high, and it's already here.
Yeah, it's not a change we're going to see right away.
Yeah, I think, maybe the bigger guys, they can absorb the difference, right?
Sure.
They're contracting 2, 3, 4 years out in advance. Starbucks, Peet's, like these bigger brands that are bringing in tons and tons of coffee. But for us that are buying 4, 6, 12 months out, we already got our coffee. For us to absorb that, like one of the big guys would do, would drive us under. We wouldn't be around. So really, we're not going to see this relief on pricing for coffee until next year, in my estimation.
Okay.
We might see it a little bit sooner in Colombia because Colombia has a swing crop, meaning a second harvest, which is fairly unusual for most coffee producing countries. They only have one harvest per year, but they have a smaller crop that gets produced. So we might see it in the spring when the Colombian swing crop starts to come in. But also like the specialty market, we might see that it's adjusted. So it's not going to go back down to where it was prior.
Right.
Like, I think we're going to see some amount of like, it's up and it's going to stay. It's not going to stay as high as it was, but it's going to stay up. Farmers were getting a premium on their coffee and they're not going to want to drop that down. So coffee costs what it costs. And so we're probably going to see that stay higher. I think the market is going to go through a whole bunch of swings and transitions as new coffees are coming in and new contracts are happening, but then like some stability will happen probably over the next 12 months is what my anticipation is.
So the price range that we're at now is something that we can expect moving forward.
I think it'll drop a little bit,
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to go back to what it was a year ago.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
not right away anyway.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into like, we've done some pretty big price increases over the last year from our retail bags to, coffees, like drinks in the retail locations.
Right.
And that's really because it's not just the C market. It's not just coffee, right? Like wages are increasing, cost of living is going up. It's not just like the coffee, right? Everything's costing. And like I paid $6 a gallon the other day for gas. Like we're feeling that pressure
Right.
from
Even
all
at the
around, right?
grocery store, yeah.
Or even freight, for example. 4 years ago, I think it cost $80 to ship a pallet of coffee from San Francisco to here.
And now we're
we
looking at
pay
an average of about 250.
$250 per pallet. Yep. So it's more than doubled. And not only that, but then like that coffee has to make it from Colombia, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Ethiopia to the port, right? So
Right.
that cost has gone up. And then from here to there, it's inclusive of all of those things. I think coffee shops, coffee market are slow to adopt. But because we are so reliant, it's an end consumer product, right? Not one that is high margin. Coffee, for the most part, is relatively low margin. Coffee shops struggle to make, like, I know so many coffee places that struggle to make any profit every year
Right.
because of not pricing what the coffee is worth, to be honest.
Yep.
And being afraid at what the consumers will think if they increase their prices. They're more afraid of losing customers than they are of like actually making money on the coffee.
Right. Which in turn would go back into the organization, the business itself.
Yeah.
Having buying power to, yeah.
Yeah. We really rely on our mission, vision, and values. Like one thing that through all of this I didn't want to do is go get lower quality coffees, right? Like we could go buy on the C market. What's crazy is the C market was as high as coffees that we were buying last year.
Right.
Changed. So yeah, it's like more than doubled in a year's time frame. But and that being said, like we didn't want to go buy coffees on the C market. Like we don't want to reduce that quality and that experience. The mission of Old World is to provide an experience that our customers will remember in their minds forever. And if we're reducing the quality of what we do, not just the coffee, but customer service, the hospitality that we provide, and that experience overall, it's going to reduce the value of what we're doing. It's going to reduce that experience in our guest's mind.
Totally.
And so it's not something that we're really willing to budge too much on, is providing a lower quality experience because of these things. And I think we've done, credit to the roastery and the roasting team. We've done really well on that because the coffees that we're bringing in are still really high quality. And even, for example, we just scored number 37 in the country.
Yeah, in the top 50
for the
list.
world. Yeah. So, which is a beautiful coffee from El Salvador.
Yep.
At Loma La Gloria.
Yep.
And the owner, Annie Ruth. What's kind of interesting about that is, unfortunately, it's not just us as consumers or coffee shops and roasteries that are affected by this, but she literally just had sold her farm
Oh.
because
No.
of some of that pressure
Really?
that has come from
Oh, no.
just the market in the last few years.
Yeah.
So
It's really sad to
she's
hear.
not the owner.
Yeah.
A multi-generational farm in El Salvador that just got sold. I'm hoping, they still produce some really lovely coffees with the new owner, but, the pressures of that affect more than just us. Like it affects the farmers and how they operate as well. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And we'll release it. I actually have an interview with her that I did a few months ago, just talking about her farm, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. And we actually have that El Salvador coming back.
Yes, we do.
The unicorn. And so we're excited to share that number 37 coffee in the country for the year with our guests. And we really want to have that pursuit of excellence, that we want to keep pushing on these things despite market conditions. But this is why our guests are going to feel it. And even though relief is coming, it's not here yet. We have to make decisions to ensure that we're here for the long term, that we can make it the next year.
Right.
And I think, unfortunately, like I was saying, it's really hard to do that because we want to meet our customers where they're at. When you're feeling it from an economic standpoint, kind of overall, like we're talking about, like, yeah, gas is expensive and rent has gone up and all these things that take away our buying power. We want to meet people where they're at, but we also want to be here for the long term. You just look at the Reno area, there's 4 coffee shops in the last year that have gone under that I know of. Some long-standing names, some places that were kind of staples in the community. Unfortunately, this might sound harsh, but it's because they were unwilling to make the price increase to be around for the long term. And I don't think that they're the last ones that we're going to see fall before all of this shakes out. So,
Yeah.
and so we're, it's hard because we do want to meet our customers where they're at, but we also want to be here to serve them next year and the year after that and the year after that. And so making some of these increases and price changes because they're happening to us is unfortunately what we have to do to be around, and not only that, but provide opportunities for our staff, growth opportunities, and ensuring that they're making a livable wage.
And we can't really, at least true to our mission, vision, values, we don't want to be, to me, the big thing is to not sacrifice on quality, to be able to provide that quality product that people come to expect from us,
We want to be here for our guests. We want to serve them well. We want to give them not just a quality product, but a quality experience, something that they'll remember forever, and train that hospitality into our staff to be able to connect them to the coffee and the people that grow their coffee.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
until next time, until next week, short take on coffee markets, tariff relief, and why coffee at your local store costs so much more than it did a year ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yes. Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of
No, I'm glad you were. Well, here's the thing. I caught myself halfway through. I'm like, oh no, I'm just talking